I'm Laura Lee, a ranger here at Kennesaw Mountain, and I'm in the Visitor Center Museum. And over my left shoulder, you will see Sherman on his horse Duke, and then over my right shoulder, you'll see a little bit of the Atlanta skyline. This is video 4 for Shadow of a Man Sherman, and we will be highlighting the year of 1864, the Atlanta campaign, and Sherman's March to the Sea. Now, prior to this, so we'll look back at 1863, you have the fall of Vicksburg, the fall of Gettysburg. So now Sherman and Grant have been ordered because Grant is promoted. Sherman also receives his promotion as commander of Army of the Tennessee. He is in Meridian, Mississippi. Now this will be echoing his march to the sea here because he goes into full warfare. He starts burning anything that will help the Confederacy, such as meals and any ammunition or arson supplies. And this is just in that little town of Meridian, Mississippi. Now he will be ordered to Chattanooga, and there they will be amassing their armies because their major goal now is one last stronghold of the Confederate South, and that is the city of Atlanta, Georgia. Now, as Grant is moved to the east to battle against the Confederate General of Robert E. Lee, Sherman will be in charge of this Atlanta campaign. They will start on May 6th and make their way down. So it's not going to be easy for these guys, though, because in the way is General Joseph E. Johnston's army, the Confederate Army, and they're standing in the way. They've got to hold Atlanta. That is their biggest goal. There's railroads there that is supplying the rest of their army. Sherman, who has prior knowledge of this area, because when he was stationed in and around during his prior service in uniform, he did some scouting of the area, just kind of looking at the terrain, which will help his knowledge as he does his march south with his army. Now, they will have different little battles through this as they face the Confederates. They're trying to outflank them to get down to the city of Atlanta. The problem is Johnston is anticipating these flanking maneuvers and sets his men up at certain points, such as Rocky Face and Resaca, and they will have different battles. The casualties for each of these battles keep piling up for both sides. The Confederates do not have enough supplies of men to keep replenishing like the Union do, but they are running low as well. So they keep making their way down. One of the big battles on here will be the Battle of Kennesaw Mountain. And it's there that Sherman decides that Johnston has stretched his forces just a little bit too thin. He's like, I'm going to do a frontal attack. And of course he encounters heavy resistance because the Confederates have dug in and around the area of Cheatham Hill. They have entrenchments there, and it'll be a bloody hand-to-hand combat. There's about 2,000 casualties just for the Cheatham Hill area. So you can see the casualties for both sides continue as they make their way through. Now, Sherman pushes that Confederate army and he keeps flanking around them, and Johnston has to move his men. It's almost like a chess match as they move down through the terrain of northern Georgia. They'll finally push them across the Chattahoochee and they'll get in within reach of Atlanta. Now, Confederate President Jefferson Davis is not happy with Johnston's maneuvers to this point, so he replaces him with Confederate General John Bell Hood. Now, Hood is a very aggressive leader because he needs to hold Atlanta. That is his goal, and he goes on the attack, which results in more casualties and heavy losses for the Confederate side because he does not have enough men to counteract Sherman, and they get within the city walls. Now, the city of Atlanta are feeling the shelling of the Union, and the Confederates decide that they need just a little bit more, so they push back and ultimately will lose the city of Atlanta. On September 2nd, Sherman sends message that Atlanta is ours and fairly won. Now, that's just first part of this. After you take the city of Atlanta, Sherman's now new goal is to go to the coastline, okay? They don't know which way he will take. He cuts communication lines as he is going through, and they become the Lost Army, and this is his march to the sea. On this march is where he will start burning everything. Now, they are leaving the city of Atlanta in flames, mostly due to them, but the Confederates do burn some of their supplies as they're on the way out. So Sherman's not responsible for all of that. So as they drum out of the city of Atlanta, he doesn't give them any rain. He tells them whatever, destroy. So they are burning the railroad ties, which become Sherman's bow ties, where they're making the metal so you cannot repair those rail lines, because he knows those are important to the Confederacy. They will also raid cotton plants. They are taking down arsenals. Anything that will aid the Confederates, it's gone. He does not give any quarters for them to pause anything. Now, his ultimate goal is that coastline, but nobody really knows where he is going until he gets within sights of the city of Savannah, and that'll be Savannah, Georgia, on the coastline. And it is there on December 22nd, he sends President Abraham Lincoln the gift of the city of Savannah as a Christmas present. Now, what is key for the year of 1864 was his election year. Now, he needed Atlanta to win, to even get the bid for the presidency. So after Atlanta, when Sherman gives that to pretty much Lincoln, Lincoln secures the presidency. Once he gives them Atlanta, or gives them Savannah, Georgia, he is given pretty much the entire South at this point. Now that concludes the year of 1864. Join us for our next video. It'll be the last in the series. It is 1865, and it'll be Sherman's Carolina campaign. Thank you, and I'm glad you enjoyed watching.